And we are live and we are on the air. Welcome, welcome. Now let the real investors in for R. Kelly's fact finding session. You've got your Omega 7 live coming at you. And we are about to bring you facts today. Just the facts, people. That's all we're looking for. And we're not talking about anything else. We want to look at the entire case surrounding R. Kelly and those alleged victims. I'd like to welcome everyone and say hello. You've got your Omega 7 live, and I'm coming to you here on Blog Talk radio station on Oracle Divination Network. And I'm also broadcasting live on my YouTube channel, Omi's Production Studio. I'd like to welcome everyone. And we are in the series, More Tea, Sir. Would you like more tea, sir? We're going to bring you more tea, sir. And this is the name of the series where we're going to be capturing information from our YouTube channel and from our CBS News. This is a news bulletin. I'm going to be bringing you just the facts, people, to talk about the R. Kelly case and giving you a collective information from the surrounding energies that I have read around R. Kelly's situation. Now, granted, we were on earlier and we were in the defense of R. Kelly, and I still am in the defense of R. Kelly until proven guilty. Now, R. Kelly was taken to court and he was found not guilty on the first charges that he was taken to court under. He actually was acquitted for those charges and sleeping with the minor. Now it looks like we're still looking at the same charges with an exception of a few more added on there. Now, the real fact is he guilty of molesting a child? Is he guilty of sleeping with a child without consent? And the current ladies that are living at his house now, are they children? Let's reason with ourselves. Are they children? Are they, in fact, 21 years or above? Now, let's get the facts out. Are these minors that have ran away from home and hid themselves out in his house and he's accepted them in, or were these girls whose parents pushed them off on R. Kelly? R. Kelly tells a story that on one occasion, the Savages brought their daughter to him, and their daughter did not want to be a singer. She said that. She admitted that. That is a fact. Check the facts, Jack. She even said she tried to commit suicide because she did not want to sing. Now, she explained to Gail in an interview, and they're facts, you can go look them up, just the facts now. She explained to Gail that her parents told her to lie about her age and to say that she was 17. Her parents told her to lie about her age to R. Kelly, and she followed their instructions. Per their instructions, her family asked her to take explicit pictures with R. Kelly, performing and insinuating indecent acts. Her parents told her to take pictures so they could gather this documentation to use as a ransom against R. Kelly. This is an admitted fact. So when we talk about these parents who are out looking for their children, could they also be out scheming, trying to solicit money from R. Kelly? These are the facts, people. Now let's get with it. We're overlooking the facts. Let's collect facts only. Now, if these two girls, one of them made a phone call to their mother, and it's been recorded saying, "Mother, I have told you many times that I am fine and I'm okay. I am not in any harm's danger and I am fine. Now, it was reported that these same girls that supposedly R. Kelly was holding hostage were off on vacation, one of them. And they indicated that they were vacationing without R. Kelly, without his entourage, and they had even gotten in an Uber car by themselves and no chaperones. So therefore, they could not have been holding her in chains and monitoring her whereabouts. So if R. Kelly wasn't traveling with her and she was out on her own, she went there on her free will. No one held her captive. Now, these girls are admitting this, not under duress or pressure. They're admitting this. These are the facts, people. And not to mention that they stated this on TV while being interviewed by Gayle King. This isn't something we thought of or we assume. This is something that Gayle has documented and it's in her facts as well. Just the facts, people. We're having tea time now. More tea, sir? Do you need more information? Well, we're going to give it to you. Okay. Now, the three girls that I have been surveilling and checking on was Lisa, Van Allen, Andrea, and Sparkles. Now, Sparkles has been caught telling some lies, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah. Sparkle went on a television interviewing session with the radio station, and she swore up and down she never had a relationship going with Robert Kelly. When in fact, there has been documentation that she has been seen in pictures with women in illicit sex with garments on, in pictures, coming to his house in nothing but a thin skirt with black panties on, parading through his house. Now, this was confirmed by Sharon, who was there when she came, as if she was coming to check out R. Kelly's house to see if there were any women hiding in the room, and especially to see if he had a wife there. She later discovered that he had a wife there, and the wife was sent away. However, nevertheless, she had desired to become the new first lady and thought that she had dibs on him, but she forgot one thing. She was already married to Earl, and Earl was the one that sent her there. She claimed and confirmed that her family had musical background, and she wanted to get her family in on the deal. Oh, Lord, yes. She brought her sister. She brought her brother. I don't know if it's brother-in-law or brother. And she brought her niece. She brought all of them. She got a phone call, she said, from someone that said that things weren't looking good with her niece being there and that she should do something. She claimed she called the Children and Family Services to investigate what was going on. Now, why didn't she go to Robert Kelly's house and remove her niece from the whole environment? Why did she have to get family services involved if she wasn't sure? Nevertheless, Sparkle has been caught in lies. Sparkle, being an entertainer or dancer, choreographer, yes, she did leave the group for a while, but she was there and she could see everything that was going on. If R. Kelly was hiding women on different floors and they had to knock to come out of their room, wouldn't you know, or wouldn't you think that Sparkle would have known something about that while she was there? And in the studio, there were sleeping quarters. Now, granted that R. Kelly may have a sexual problem. And as I said, the best we could do for this young man is to get him some help. But he had help. If this is what happened, that he was taking human trafficking women, he had to have some help. And maybe Sparkle had to be a support system as well as Andrea. If Andrea stayed with him for 13 years, she had to have seen something and had to have been his assistant and had to participate in these acts. If not, she would have left. So I don't think our court system is going to be just interviewing R. Kelly, but R. Kelly, if he's smart, he's going to bust the whole thing wide open. He's going to talk about his assailants and his support system and his groups that he had designated to work with him. Now, R. Kelly is a sick person, truly. If he has to have more than one person having sex with him, he needs to have some treatment. But I don't think this calls for him to be locked up, because this was a conglomerate effort that was done. Now, he said that he had sex with many girls, but he did not admit to having sex with minors. Now, if he could agree and tell you the truth about him having many sex partners, why would he have to lie about having sex with minors? Eventually, it would come out. I don't think the man fudged that information. He told the truth and nothing but the truth. Now, you know he has a problem. He admitted to it. Now, you have to look at what was the actual violation. Was he violated on the account that he had misconduct and having many women in his sex partner? Or is he being violated or being brought to charges because he had sex with a child and a minor? He exclusively said he never had sex with a minor. Is there real charges to hold him on because he has orgy sex groups? I don't think so. I don't think that there's a court in any law that can hold him responsible and under any charges because he had sex with more than one woman and because he's practicing polygamy. Now, if he's married to these girls, then that's different. But if he's sporting them, I don't think you can do a thing about it if they are consensual parties. Now, here you have a problem. You couldn't find anything on him when you put him in jail initially. So you came back with the $161,000 that he had to pay. Well, the $161,000 that he had to pay for child support. Now, you did get him on that, and you caught him off guard because you figured he couldn't access his money. Somebody told him a fib at the bank when they told him he couldn't access his money for 6 to 7 days. That's a lie. You can open up that account immediately in 24 hours and he can have access to it. Somebody didn't want him to get that money out of the bank because they're trying to imprison R. Kelly. That's a fact. We know that. Now, why are people coming out of the woodwork claiming that they have videotapes that have been discovered with R. Kelly in there practicing illicit sex? When Michael examined that situation, I understand that those videotapes was not of R. Kelly after all, but he had been soliciting for some tapes, or else they would have never called Michael on the phone. Now here you have Gary Dennis, comes out of the woodwork, who is one that is against R. Kelly. He just so happens to go in his basement, y'all. How many times have we went in our basement and pulled out old tapes? Did we find any of R. Kelly? And we live in the hood. We know we pass tapes around. But how in the hell did this middle-class man and middle-aged man suddenly go in his basement and discover, I got some R. Kelly tapes too. How did they get here? I'm a basketball fan. I'm going to look through this and see if this is a basketball tape. How convenient. Then he and his wife, Sally, they said, we better get on to a phone and call the authorities. And then they called Mrs. Gloria Allred. We know good and doggone well Mrs. Gloria Allred is not the pose. When did she become the pose? And when do we start? You better call Gloria Allred because she's the pose. Now, here's a big picture. Gary done got himself involved in this too. He thinks he can walk away with some dollar bills, y'all, but he's in knee deep. Just as R. Kelly said, you better show some ID before I get knee deep. And he means that. He's telling these people right up front, I don't want no minors coming to me. You got to show some ID. Now here's Gary. He all of a sudden shows up from nowhere and he calls Gloria Allred. Gloria, I got the R. Kelly tapes. Do you want me to bring them down to you? Because you are the authoritarian. You are the authorities. Knowing good and doggone well. Well, yes, Greg, Gary, you should bring them right down to me. We are going to investigate this and we are going to see if they are the authentic tapes. Now, did Gloria look to see if there was the authentic tapes of R. Kelly? Did she even view the video on TV to show someone that this is R. Kelly? Or is she fuzzing it, saying that it's R. Kelly, but no one has approved of the videotape? What does he really have? Why don't he show them on YouTube? Why don't Gloria show them on national TV? What is the problem? Can she be holding this as leverage so that she can connive and scare someone that she's got tapes? What tapes? Are these the same tapes that were brought into court when R. Kelly went to court before and he got relieved on those tapes and there were not enough evidence to prove him guilty? Which tapes? Are they brand new tapes? Because if you got a VHS, then they got to be back from 1990 something. And they've already acquitted him on that case. So how you going to come up with those same tapes trying to indict the man a second time? Facts. Just the facts, people. Now you got a VHS tape. What you going to do with it? Because we talking about current. What has he done lately? And what has he done to you lately? And to those so-called alleged victims. There are no victims. Because when they go on the Me Too channel, they did not have to be fingerprinted. They did not have to be sworn in. They did not have to take a lie detector test. So their verdicts should be thrown out, inadmissible in court, because they were not under oath when they gave their testimony. So technically, you have no facts. You have no alleged victims. R. Kelly is a victim for that matter. Someone stole from him. He's a victim. They went in his bank account and wiped out money. He's a victim. They also misuse R. Kelly funds. He's a victim. And R. Kelly is an illiterate, so basically he's disabled. And he should not even be tried in a court of a law, because if he is found not to have an IQ high enough, he could be not only illiterate, but mentally ill as well. And he'd have to be tried up under different circumstances. You keep yelling, but he's stupid, he's slow. Then when disabled people go to court, under certain circumstances, disabled people cannot be fully tried. Is he disabled? That's the question you need to answer. Has he gone under psychological evaluation by a trained psychiatrist that's licensed? Have you proven him to be illiterate? Are you just saying that because he has no diploma? You've got to prove that. And it will work in his favor if he's disabled, because a disabled person will be treated with kit and gloves altogether differently. Now, I'm just calling it like a TI is. I'm not for any type of sexual predator. I don't believe that R. Kelly was a sexual predator. He did not lure these girls in. The parents came to him, pushing these girls off on them. And it was also said that some of these parents gave parental rights and handed over parental rights to R. Kelly. Handed it over in exchange for a check. What's going on? Has the money ran out? Have they forgotten that they gave parental rights to R. Kelly? Now, if R. Kelly was raising these girls up, he had a pretty damn big job on his hand, because young girls are hard to rear. And he raised them up, and he gave them the finer things of life, and he provided for them. What harm is it in doing that? Especially if the father had a criminal record. One of the Savage situation, the records show that the father had some criminal background with sexual molestation and sexual misconduct. Could the young girl have left the home because she did not want to be around her father? Now, here's a pot calling the kiddo black. One of the fathers has involved in illicit sex and has had 3 counts of misconduct against him. We ought to start looking into the parents' background. Who were they? And what kind of parents give their children over to a so-called predator that has sexual molestation on their record? Now, no one has proven him to be a predator or sexual deviant predator. And he didn't even get charged for it the first time. So why are you taking those charges, putting them on him when he has not even gone to court yet? Now these parents are calling these daughters in, wanting to get a testimony from them so they can go into court and get a check. Isn't it disgusting that parents would sell their children into a ring and a racket like this? He had to have an entourage that was helping him. Now, don't think you're going to walk out the back door and get away free, Andrea. You was right. For 13 years, you had to have seen something and you had to have participated. Why don't you come clean and stop all that devilish crying on TV talking about, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I got out. Yes, you may have got out, but you participated in the sexual ring as well. And may R. Kelly bring every one of you into court and subpoena you there. If he has to go down, he needs to take all of the crew down with him who supported him. Now, truly, if these girls came on their own and he needed a girl for every night because that was it, what his appetite called for, then we must understand that R. Kelly may not be guilty at all, because these girls came consensually and their parents submitted them and they weren't underage. 17 in most states is not underage. Now, if they willingly had intercourse with R. Kelly, they submitted to it. There's nothing the parents can do. Now that the parents' money has ran out and they want to bring this to court because they want to get a bigger prize or a lump sum of money, it's not going to work. It's not going to play out in court. All of this is going to fall apart. It already is. Mr. Savage, you know, all of the videos you're putting up, people are finding out about you. They pulled your criminal record and they know who you are. You've had some charges against you about molestation and having sex with underage people. Now, we must understand that there are a whole lot of men that are out there right now, like Harvey. Harvey did not want his case publicized, and he did not want to have the media try him. But you're allowing R. Kelly to have the media try him. Harvey admits to using his power to do all these horrible things to women. Harvey admitted it, but he paid you enough money to get off. But you're trying to make sure that R. Kelly wears the face of molestation. You're trying to make sure that he doesn't have the money to pay you, that he doesn't have enough to pay his way out of this. But by the grace of God, money can show up. He's got a lot of fans, and those fans can raise that money for him to get this young man off. But the young man is going to have to get some help, because his taste and appetite for sex is too great. And he's going to have to get some help to realize one woman has to do the job. I don't believe him for having. And you can't make him swallow because he sleeps with a different woman every night. Now, he might be called the Pied Piper, but at the same time, you families have been taken care of by R. Kelly. He's financed your household. He's taking care of your girls. He's even got permission from you where you pushed them. You pushed the girls to be a singer. She even tried to commit suicide because you were pushing her to become a singer because you thought she could become a star and she could take care of you financially. You wicked, wicked parents, you need to be brought into court too. And if you signed over any rights to R. Kelly, giving him the parental guardianship of these girls, you should be brought up on charges right now. And the investigators should be bringing you in, taking down statements, and the Children and Family Services to see what kind of parents you were. Were you parents that were neglectful? And did these girls have to go out of your home and leave you because they were over inundated with sexual activities in their own home? Now, all of this has got to be investigated. Just the facts, Jack. We only want the facts. It's more tea time. Hold on. More tea, sir? Would you like more tea? You're causing me to have to moisten my throat because I'm just concerned how all of this stuff got started and who entertained it. Now, Sparkles, you have already been caught in a lie. Andrea, you singing R. Kelly's song, and that's my baby's daddy. And then you're going on stage on national TV. Oh, boo-hooing. Come on now, you're a great actress. And I can't believe now that all the money is gone and you are hitting rock bottom, you're going back to R. Kelly for some more child support. And he just handed you over $160,000. You should be sitting pretty. You were supporting the man like you were supposed to at one time. You were telling people to go buy his tickets and go to his show, and you were supporting him because you needed that income. And what made you fall faint and come against the man and start lying about how he physically abused you when you never went to any police officer to tell them of your abuse? You just kept talking about your psychological abuse. Do you have any documentation from the psychiatrist that say you were being treated for psychological oppression or clinical depression? Do you? If you cannot prove that psychological documentation, then you better get off that stuff, girl, because your lies are being revealed. Because you can't very well be psychologically abused without having some documentation on file that you went to a psychiatrist. How did you diagnose your own self? And were there any physical abuses that you could have went to the police department and documented? Then you need to get off that kick because you're just as guilty as sin because you were right there with R. Kelly amongst those orgies and when that girl got peed on, I understand. Now, you participated by not going to the authorities to tell them of this horrible, horrible situation. Why didn't you report R. Kelly? Why didn't you call those parents to come and get those girls? Why weren't you their advocate? Yet now you claim you want to be an advocate for women that are being abused. It's too late. You should have did something when it was happening. Andrea, you are just as guilty as sin. And you might as well go ahead and tell the truth, girl, so that they can go lightly on you. You were a part of all of those incidents, and you know it. And you know exactly what was happening. You knew what was happening. You knew. Now, I want to say one thing, that we are going to have to be better investigators. I'm just a researcher with a little bit of background experience in paralegal research. And if I can gather the facts through looking at some of the CBS News and some of these broadcasts where they are calling in this information on the YouTube channel, we should be able to see through the lies And nobody is seeing through the lies. This was a racket. This wasn't any Illuminati. This was something that R. Kelly crafted. He enjoyed having women around him, and he paid the price to have women around him. He enjoyed having sex with different women and under different circumstances. There are many white men out there just like that. Sonny Bono had a young girl, and she was with him. And we know R. Kelly was married to Aaliyah, who was young, but he annulled the wedding. He had enough sense to annul the wedding. Then why would he still be taking in minors if he annulled the wedding between him and Aaliyah? Oh, see, but the whole story is not being told about Aaliyah's uncle and what he had been doing to rob R. Kelly and to steal from R. Kelly. They had plans too to take R. Kelly's financial wealth. Everybody was trying to feed off of R. Kelly's wealth. So this all started with a plot and a scheme to steal money from him. R. Kelly is a victim. He's had his money stolen. And R. Kelly knew that Aaliyah's uncle was stealing from him. And even now, they are probably still feasting off of some of his income, and they are living off of his legacy. R. Kelly won't go down in the books as broke. Why do so many white folks love to see it when they can rip us apart and come to our neighborhood talking about helping our Black people who have been a victim, and now they want to come and help our people and be the counsel for our people? No, they want to come make money off of you Black people because they see an opportunity. And if you were smart, you would settle with R. Kelly. You would not go get a white lawyer like Gloria Allred, who's just looking for money. Now look at her out here running around with a man who has a tape that shows up in his house, and they have no indication or no factual information of where it came from. It could have been created. Maybe he's a technician. He has IT experience behind him and can take any old videotape, VHS, and lay tracks over it and reproduce what he wanted to show. Then Gloria Allred, you would be hovering a fraud. That man could be a fraud, but yet you're talking about representing him? How intelligent can you be? You don't know where this man got this evidence from, and this evidence may be inadmissible in a court of law. Hold tight. That information may not be usable in a law. Bring information in. That information has and as you know, they played that trick on Cosby when they brought that tape in. It had been tampered with, and someone had overlaid on the tape, so it had to be. But they convicted Bill on that recording, and it shouldn't have been used. That's one of the appeals that they're appealing, because that was tampered with evidence, and they allowed it in courts. And if they allow any of these tapes that these so-called men like Gary Dennis is bringing forward, because you cannot bring in tampered evidence. Now, I want to say for the record, those parents who have gotten together to do this deviant thing, you better wake up, because you may find yourself on trial. Just the facts. R. Kelly has a lawyer too, and he's a strong-willed lawyer, and he believes in his client. And he spoke out against the tapes. He said that R. Kelly didn't even view the documentary. I don't blame him because it's just another Me Too group of lies. And why is this Me Too group have a vested interest suddenly in Black folks and their whereabouts and bringing forth all of these women on television? Are we so starved to death that we want to be on television under any circumstance and we would go on there lying against our own people just to get a chicken in a pot and a few extra dollars? Well, I tell you, you're going to suffer for every lie you tell on TV to profit your own family and your own pocket. You're going to pay for that lie because some of you are lying that's on that Me Too documentary. Some of you are lying and it was botched up and put together. I understand that they wanted to take some of those testimonies off, but it was too late. So they got entered anyway. And some of them are fraudulent. And all of that's going to be proven. But see, you think R. Kelly's going to be dead and he'll die before he get an appeal and you'll have him put in jail where you want him? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. One time you fool us. 2 times you cannot fool us. That's it. The game is over with. Black folks are on to all of this Me Too movement where it's designed against to put our Black men in prison. And R. Kelly is one of the richest Black men on the planet. And you went after him for his money. You went after Chris Brown. But thanks be to God, he got whipped of what you was doing. He made that dear woman come to her senses about lying. Then he countersued her. R. Kelly is going to countersue somebody. Oh, yes, his rights have been violated. And you have made him into an actual predator. And you created a picture to people that he's raping children. He is not raping children. These are adults and grown-ups that he's having consensual sex with. And they are accepting it because they want the glamorous life. And their parents have bought into it. That's why they gave the legal guardianship over to R. Kelly, and it's documented. Once R. Kelly shows the legal documents that were signed based on these families, they are going to step back because it'll be all she has written. So guardianship to somebody, give your child to somebody, then that's a wrap. That's consensual. And you have no business knocking on the door saying, I want to see my daughter. Now, your daughter is grown now. They have a right to turn you down if they don't want to see you. But nevertheless, we've got fathers who have criminal records behind them who are crying that are documented evidence that this particular father has been indicted for criminal sexual acts, not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times. And he don't want to go back to jail for exposing what has happened in his household and why his daughter had to leave. Now, we got some real serious issues that can blow the hood off the sucker and is about to blow because R. Kelly ain't going to stay on stage crying, feeling sorry for himself. He's going to get up and he's going to expose all of those who had a hand in this. Now, how do you look coming to R. Kelly's job, asking him if he will take your daughter and make a songstress out of her, when in fact, he said when she got on stage, she couldn't sing. She said, I know I couldn't sing. I never wanted to sing. My family and father and mother pushed me to sing. And they told me to take pictures with you in case they ever needed them to exploit you. They can use this as evidence. They openly said this on TV, the interview with Gayle. The father and mother, Sally, that the Savages pushed this daughter to take illicit pictures with R. Kelly so they could use them as evidence for blackmailing. So they were going to blackmail. They were going to use this extortion to get R. Kelly. So the name of this movie should be Let's Get R. Kelly. Let's get R. Kelly. But it is not possible. But it only can be possible with crooked lawyers and crooked court system. This time, courts, we want you to hold up just the facts and the evidence. Do not admit Any evidence that's been tampered with, such as videotapes that somebody turned in. Do not allow those tapes because they've been tampered with. And we want to make sure that all of the women that were staying with R. Kelly get investigated. That includes Andrea, Sparkle, and Lisa Van Allen. And the two young recent girls who, Mr. Savage's daughter and the other young girl, all of them need to be interviewed. And they need to be interviewed under duress, immediately brought in under subpoena, because you really got to find out, were these girls held against their will, or did they willingly go? And if they willingly go, there's nothing anybody could do about it. Not the mother, not the father, not the DA, not the court system, not anybody, because they're fully grown and they gave full consent to be in his presence. But we want only just the facts. It's more tea time. I think I'm going to have a cup of tea. Hold tight. We're going to get some more information going here in a minute. I usually don't put my nose into things like this unless it pertains to our Black people. But this is an indictment on our Black community. This is an indictment on our Black community. May I say that again? This is an indictment on all of our Black men. And on behalf of all of our Black men, you ought to stand up, because R. Kelly is not a pervert. He is not a child molester. He has children of his own that he cried out to have a bond with, a relationship with. He is not trying to hurt any woman or man's younger daughter. He's trying to give them a home and a place and the desires of their heart. And that's what he's giving them. If anything that he's guilty of is paying you mothers and fathers off to have their children stay at his place, he should have left them right where they were. And they still would have came to him, and he would still have more money in his pocketbook now. But instead, he offered to take care of your households, to pay your bills, to pay for your cars, and to give your little darlings something they never had, and that's love and affection. Now, however way they got it together, if they had to have 4 or 5 people to do that, then so be it. R. Kelly has to go before God on that. That's something that he has to cry out for forgiveness for. But none of us can be his judge and jury on his appetite for sex. He has to know that it's abnormal, but it's not anything. It is not a crime to have more than one woman, and it's not a crime to have consensual sex. And if this was consensual sex, it's nothing that mommy can do about it. It's too late, mommy. It's nothing that you can do about it. But we must look at just the facts. And somehow, I believe that Andrea got on the national TV and portrayed herself as a victim. Let me inform you, ladies, none of you are victims until the court deem that you have been violated. Then you become a victim. I don't care how much you cry wolf. If you have no evidence of you being in the hospital, of you getting treatment for psychological counseling or for clinical depression, and if you say you've been abused, then show the wounds and document, show and tell, so that you have evidence to go in the courtroom with. If he beat you, you should have some scars on you that you photographed and took to some authorities so that they can see it. But where is it written that we can take evidence for anybody that wants to indict a person that's on trial? You don't just take evidence from people and use it in a court of law to condemn somebody. You cannot take videotapes from someone that comes up that has no significance in the case, or if it's a conflict of interest, they have vendettas against R. Kelly. There's a lot of women that would have vendettas against R. Kelly because he quit them, or he no longer is involved with them. They would easily go and try to win a dime and win a recovery of money just to tell a lie on him. Now, you're going to have to thoroughly do your investigation, courts. And this time around, we're watching you, and you cannot louse this up. This is for our legacy. We're not going to let you louse this up. We're going to call on all those investigators to start calling. You can call in to talk to us, and you can let us know. Let's see. You can call in on our line if you want to talk to us. You can call in on our line if you want to talk to us about anything pertaining to this case. You can voice your opinion. So we want you to do that now. Hold tight. Now, I don't know why my station does that. It doesn't want me to play music for some reason, and it'll clog up the music so we can't hear it. But I'm just going to talk through the commercials. That's okay. I'm paying for this service and I should have it. But one way or the other, I want you to understand that we are going to, let me see here. It's a possibility that I may have to dial this number. Okay, they made that permanently disabled. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back. We are here talking on the topic of Let the real R. Kelly investigation begin. And we've begun the real R. Kelly investigation. And this is Mortisa series. You're on the line with Omega 7, and I am with Omi's production studio, and I'm broadcasting from Oracle Divination Network, and that is our blog talk radio station. And if you are out there and you want to voice your opinion, you want to call in and put your 2 cents in, we're looking for just the facts. Just the facts. Bring us facts on R. Kelly's alleged victims. Who are they? One of them is Andrea Jones, also known as Andrea Jones, and by marriage, Andrea Kelly, Sparkle's Sparkle's brother and sister, who have no names at this time, and the niece, who also would prefer not to be named. Then there is Lisa Allen, Lisa Van Allen's. And these are some of the characters that have been named, and along with Mrs. Savage, the young girl that's currently staying with R. Kelly now. And there's one other figure that's staying with R. Kelly. Now, let me focus in on the two girls that were in this documentary where Mrs. King um, interviewed these two girls, and they openly indicated that they're in an open relationship with R. Kelly. They declined to talk about their sexual arrangement and how they actually plan their relationships for intimacy. They declined that topic. However, they did say they were there at R. Kelly's house on their own free will and that they were fine, and that their parents tried to instigate where they would blackmail R. Kelly by going in to get pictures, illicit pictures with them in sexual positions, and using those pictures to distort money from him. This is what they wanted to do. Now, the mothers and the fathers probably won't admit to this, but the children certainly have on national TV. It's already been documented by Gayle King. So that's going to have to be taken up in court. If these girls testify against their mothers and fathers, Gayle can bring her own testimonial evidence, which it could be subpoenaed. Irregardless if the girls decide to testify or not, that evidence from that interview can be subpoenaed and used as evidence against the parents, showing that they willingly, and they're not minors, and that they consented to intercourse with R. Kelly and to living with him, not molested, not against their will, not held as hostages, but who are considering themselves to be in a relationship with R. Kelly. These are just the facts, folks. These are not things that I'm telling you that are just alleged. These are things that have been proven by virtue of these girls going on national TV, consenting to being interviewed. Now, let's talk about that Me Too group. That Me Too group that's out there that's gathering momentum, they think. But they don't realize they can be taken down any moment by another strong African American group of people. You cannot represent us when you're constantly slandering the facts, ignoring the facts. We want just the facts. That's how investigations go. You cannot come on with any alleging victims until you have been proven a victim. All of you are guilty. You cannot be on trial and hold your own court and jury. Who named you the judge and the jury? I better take me a tea break. Some Motisa? Yes, Motisa. I got to drink some tea. Excuse me. But I have to make sure my vocal cords are going to be in good position. Now, let me say this. That Me Too group is going to be found out. They're being used. They are being used. Whenever there's a case that crops up, how come they are Johnny on the scene? Who hires them? And what must a case have in order to pull them to do the investigation? They got more money to spill on airtime. Who's supporting them? Is this taxpayers' dollars? Because if it is and we didn't vote it in, they have to sit down because they're using our taxpayers' dollars to put on these airs on TV and bring out idiosyncrasies and lies and innuendo. We want just the facts, or else we'll discredit that whole ordeal. Some of those girls on there, I understand there was a conversation about how are they going to get away with putting all of those liars on the screen in a documentary when in fact there was no evidence, and some of them were out and out lying. We were told through an interview that they knew that some of the girls were lying, but it was too late to remove them. They couldn't dismantle the whole show. That's what it is a show openly. But God said he will make a show of them openly. And R. Kelly, your prayer should be to ask God to forgive you. When you confess your sins openly before God, he will cleanse you of all your unrighteousness and put you in right standing. Brother, you could be put in right standing. If you had an appetite for sex and couldn't control it, cry out to God, and God will take that desire away from you. And you purpose in your heart that you won't go after this illicit sex. You're guilty of one thing, and that is of going out on your wife and having illicit sex, knowing that she knew it. And if she approved of it, that's a different thing. We got to find out if Andrea approved of this illicit three-party sex, and was she a part of it? If she was, R. Kelly, you might be able to get off and say, my wife approved of the illicit sex, but I never, ever included underage girls in my sex trafficking. And I wasn't out searching for these women. The parents brought the children to me. As a matter of fact, if you can prove that they gave you guardianship and that there are some papers to substantiate that, you might be in good standing. There was inappropriate foul play on the parents' side. Anytime you come to a known rock star and say, here, take my daughter and make a performer out of her. Here, make her rich so she can make us rich. You are eliciting for your child to be engaged with a rock star. You know the life of a rock star. Don't even pretend you don't know. You probably knew it better than your daughter did because you wanted her to be lined up with a rock star to give her fame and fortune, and to let that fame and fortune pour over into your life in the form of a check. Now, let's just call it what it is. You were trying to get some money and you hooked your daughters up. You went to the concert and asked R. Kelly, would he take your daughter and make a star out of her? R. Kelly gave her day on the stage. He put her on the stage to sing, but he found out she couldn't sing. She said, I know I can't sing, but it's my parents who wants me to take illicit pictures with you, and they want you to fall prey to them having to extort money from you. They want to get money from you. She told that openly to Gayle King on television. Henceforth and evermore, those parents will be known as someone who elicit this relationship for their daughter out in the open, right at the concert. The girls made the statement that they did not want to be a part of R. Kelly Heron. They weren't coming there to get discovered. But unfortunately, the parents wanted them to get discovered and wanted R. Kelly to pay them money for their children. And in some instance, I think he did. Now, is there a law in paying for the usage of your children? Now, if they went willingly and didn't say, let me go back home, if he didn't lock them up in some dungeon, which they pretended he locked these girls up in the dungeon, when none of that was so. They stayed there on their own free will. Nobody was trying to break out of prison. So we got a situation here, a real situation here. We're going to find that out in a minute. What can we do about it? Hold tight. We are at commercial time. And during this commercial time, we like you to know that we're trying to do discovery. We're trying to collect just the facts on behalf of R. Kelly and his case. I do not believe that R. Kelly's been found guilty. They knew R. Kelly was trying to move his money around. And while he was trying to move his money around to be able to make bail, they came up with the child support. They didn't want to take half of it, but they wanted $160,000, which he has provided for them. He couldn't make bail, and one of his friends had to come and make bail for him. Under every circumstances, they wanted R. Kelly locked up. Why would you want a brother locked up until you've proven him guilty? Now give him his day in court, and you mothers that have done something wrong, terribly wrong, by going out there and giving the custody of your children over to R. Kelly. Now, if they were underage when that happened, they're going to indict you parents as well as R. Kelly. And R. Kelly, if you took minors in your hand, then you are going to be a victim. You are going to be a criminal in taking those children. Now, if those women were truly of age and they came to you on their own cognizance, and they came to you wanting to be your heron and be a part of your bed, then there's nothing no one can do about that. That is perfectly legal. As you know, all of the great entertainers, songwriters, and rock stars, they had appetites for many women, just as King Solomon did, but it will bring you to your ruins. And if R. Kelly is guilty of sexually molesting young children, that will be brought out and he will be tried. I do not condone any of those things that supposedly he did, but until he goes to court and is proven guilty, he's still innocent until the facts come in. We got a lot of things that are wrong, and we're not going to let anyone escape. We're trying to do a thorough investigation here. Mrs. Sparkles, we know good and darn well that when you came to R. Kelly, you said it yourself. You saw an opportunity for your family who are entertainers and musicians to get their day, their opportunity. Even your uncle, you said, who played the guitar, you wanted R. Kelly to see him play. He played and got on with R. Kelly. And then your sister, who's a dancer, choreographer, and your brother, you brought them along with you, didn't you? And he gave them jobs. Then you brought your niece with you. What was your purpose of bringing your niece? Don't tell me you was bringing a niece over to babysit Joanne, R. Kelly's daughter, because I don't think he asked you to do that. You thought you were bringing that young girl over to be discovered. And truly she was discovered because you pointed her out in a videotape and said that was her, but she denounced it in a court of law and said, no, it's not me. And because there was so much confusion around that and identifying her, and there was inability to identify her, it was thrown out of court and the case was dismissed. Now, why are you supporting the case coming back again? Did you hope to be the new next lady of Rockstar? Did you not know that R. Kelly was married? Or were you fudging it? You knew all along. And when you found out he was married, weren't you disgruntled and upset? And wasn't there a plot and scheme made after that? I understand that Lisa Van Allen, Sparkle, and one other person, you went, according to the publication in the news, the CBS, you went to R. Kelly's place of exercising at the gym where he had his duffel bag, and you confiscated his duffel bag, and you took the content, over $100,000 in jewelry, along with a Rolex watch and the tape. And I understand you mailed the tape to CBS, Sun Times. You mailed the tape to them, and they inadvertently, actually it was mailed to some other constituent, and they forward the tape on to the CBS News. Just at the time when R. Kelly was releasing his new album. You purposely did that, Sparkle, because you and Lisa knew that he was going to have his debut album, and that would take his credibility and actually put some distortion on his new album so that it wouldn't sell, that he would have a overabundance of less purchasers, and you would damage his career. You purposely tried to destroy him, just as you are now when you go on these television shows and you lie and you say you had no intimacy with this man, when in fact there's evidence to prove that you came to his house dressed as if you were going to go to bed with him. And Mrs. Sharon, who was a nutritionist, discovered that you came into his house ranting and raving, not speaking to her, in this revealing skirt that showed your black panties. And that under one particular time, Sharon discovered your pictures where you were exposing yourself along with other women as if you were having a circle of sex with these in this situation. So you knew exactly what was going on. You were part of that heron too, but yet you're lying. You need to be subpoenaed and brought into court. And so do you, Lisa. You need to be subpoenaed because you all benefit. Okay? Sparkle gets an album out of the deal. And Lisa, you get a book deal. All of you are profiting from dear R. Kelly, who is the victim. You're profiting from his loss. And you lied in your testimonies. And all of this is going to be revealed. Just the facts, just the facts. That's all we want, is just the facts. We are not looking for anything else. And we're not trying to give R. Kelly a break. If he's done something wrong, we want him prosecuted too. But we are not going to have women getting on the stand lying against these men. We're not going to have it. Hold tight. We're going to commercial now. We're in the process of collecting the facts, just the facts, so that we can talk about what is really going on and how has this heron been supported by people in the circle, and who are the people that have held up this heron and who have went out and solicited for girls to be a part of it. Who are they? And is Andrea, is she one of them? Does she support R. Kelly in collecting and finding these young girls? If she did, she needs to come clean, and she needs to stop saying that she is a victim. She is not the victim. I don't care how many R. Kelly songs she sings and how much she cried on the radio or on the television. She's not a victim, and she can't be indicted for her participation in this heron. Nevertheless, we have got to get things together, and we've got to be able to call things out as though they were. We've got to be able to call things out and call them out with factual evidence. So many of these people have gone on trial to make their statement without swearing, while under oath, and without having a lie detector test. There should be a lie detector test done for each and every one of these so-called victims, alleged victims. And we are going to have to get to the bottom of this, making sure that we are not allowing these people to bring down individuals for no other cause than to get a hold of their money. And we know that there was a lot of distortion going on for R. Kelly's money because a lot of people thought they could get to his money. They had access to it and they were robbing him blind. But we have to know the truth. In the African American community, we have to know the truth. Just what are the facts? Just the facts, Jack. That's all we want. We don't want to know anything else about who's dating who's sleeping with who. And we want R. Kelly to come forward and openly tell the world that he never slept with an underage child and that he is not a sex predator. Because right now, the white people are coming into our community asking to become our counselors and take these cases, and they want to run the gamut against our own people. Don't do it, people. Don't do it. Go in and sit down with R. Kelly and settle outside of court so that you don't have to run your brother down and fight your brother. You don't realize you are destroying your own community, and they know it. That's why they're coming to you with these fraudulent cases telling you you can win. I don't think you can win. R. Kelly's got a strong lawyer, and he's willing to fight for him. Now, if he's not a sellout and he's going to fight for R. Kelly, you can't win. You can't win, man. You just can't win. And you got to get out of the game. Yes, you can't win. Ladies and gentlemen, our phone lines are open now, and our number is 760-539-3247. You can call in with your opinion, and if you have any facts that you would like to disperse, just the facts. We want only the facts about each and every one of these characters that are playing a role and a game in this soliciting sex heroin. Where did it come from? Now, you want to make the mistake and say that R. Kelly was stupid, he was illiterate, he could not read or write. R. Kelly seems to have picked up a lot of information on how to carry himself, for one thing. And he's very convincing. He doesn't sound like an illiterate, but yet you want him to come across as being the stupid, the idiot that you took advantage of. We don't all have to be illiterate for you to take advantage of us. There's some people that take people's stuff just because they can. And you're going to owe R. Kelly back all that money. And R. Kelly is going to be able to do a counter suit. And he's going to get the civil suit going real soon because somebody's been lying on R. Kelly and they've been taking money from him. And all of this is going to come to ruins because he's going to bust the whole shenanigans open. And a lot of people are going to have to go to jail. It won't just be R. Kelly. Trust me, he's smart enough to know that. Now, I am praying and hoping for the best because I do believe somebody has painted the wrong picture on R. Kelly. He might have been a young man enjoying his heroin and the women that are out there that he could pay for to stay with him. Now, if that was the case, and the parents said, well, that's good, let him take care of them. I know he at least has the money to take care of them and me too. And they got a bargain out of the deal because they got taken care of along with their daughter. Now, if this is a situation, then the parents are just as wrong as R. Kelly is. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that because we know that we don't want our community torn down. I still want you. Hold tight. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for coming along. If you don't mind, for those of you who are on my YouTube channel, please subscribe down below and hit that subscriber as well as ring that bell. because that'll tell you when I'm on, ladies and gentlemen, and you can follow me. And go out to my Facebook and become a follower. You don't have to just become a friend, become a follower and follow the leader. And while you're subscribing, if you have any comments about the R. Kelly investigation, please leave those R. Kelly investigations down below. And this is our More Tea Source series, and we are working on series number 16. And this is talking about the case. We all should be putting down whatever we're talking about and focusing in on the case so that we can help R. Kelly get more visibility and we can be a part of this discovery and we can stay on top of things because they buried too many of us because we've been somewhere else with our nose in the ground or in a book and not realizing what they're doing to our community. This is an indictment on our community. This is an out and out execution of Brother R. Kelly, and we cannot let it happen. We have to give this man a fair trial. If anything, we should get therapeutic help for him so that he can get some consultation about his sex habits and get some real treatment. And while he's getting that real treatment, he does not have to attend prison because that's not the answer for him. Because it's $79,000 being spent to house another brother in the prison institute. And we just don't have that kind of money. We can take that money to rehabilitate him for real and not have to worry about wasting it in a court of law. I mean, wasting it in a prison. So for those of you, let's see here. For those of you who don't know what's going on, R. Kelly was brought into court initially under charges, and he was asked to pay his bail, $100,000, and one of his friends loaned him the money. And after he got out, then he was brought back in for child support, back paying child support, $161,000 to be exact. And someone paid that for him. And from what I understand, someone paid the $161,000 for him. And then I'm not sure if he's out now on bond or what the situation was or what happened first. We do know they're trying to keep him incarcerated so that they can eventually bring him up on these other charges that they are talking about. And these other charges that they are talking about, we certainly don't want our dear brother brought to prison or put in prison. We want him to have a fair trial. And that's what we're trying to do now, collect the facts. We've been talking about all the strategic people that are in this game. And I think I named them: Lisa Van Allen, Sparkles, Andrea Jones Kelly, and one of the Savage girls who's currently staying with him now. The Savage father, let's bring him into the picture. There's a lot going on with the Savage father, who actually has created videotapes and he's out there eliciting his videotapes. Some people are recording messages that he has with other people. And they're saying that this man has a tainted background and that this man actually has a criminal record that has sexual assault cases, and that his daughter has left the home. And because his daughter has left the home, they fear that the daughter doesn't want to be there because of his activity. So some of these families are crooked and they have actually done a lot of things that have not been exposed to the general population. But in a minute, they're going to be exposed. Now, let's talk about these tapes that are showing up. Now, Mr. Gary Dennis did a press release. I read the press release that he did. He was being coached by Gloria Allrich. Gloria Allrich uh, has been acquired by this Gary Dennis to represent him. Now, suppose Gary Dennis, his wife, Sally Dennis, they decided once they went in their basement They discovered that there was a tape amongst all of their videotapes for Athletic, and he discovered that it was an R. Kelly tape. How convenient. Where did it come from? He said he went to go view the tape, had R. Kelly's name on it. And when he viewed it, he was shocked. He said there was all kinds of illicit sex in the videotape. Now, my question is, this is a VHS tape. And if this is a VHS tape, then it had to have been created back there in the 90s. And it might very well be the same VHS tape that they used in the first discovery. And if it is, how did he get it? And was he a part of R. Kelly's entourage? And can it be used as evidence? Because no one seemed to know where it came from. And can this man submit it to the police department as evidence? Because it could have been a tampered tape and created. And why is Mrs. Gloria Allred over here in our territory telling this man to tell anyone else that has discovery or found tapes about R. Kelly to please turn them into her? Since when did she become the popos? And since when does she address all of our problems with African American men? She's not out there to help African American men. She's a part of that Me Too Foundation, and she was the one to help put Bill in prison. So how is she out here now trying to put R. Kelly in prison? You mustn't do it to your brother, Mr. Carey. If you're hearing this tape, Gary, Dennis, you mustn't do it. You mustn't be a part of this shenanigans, because that's what it is. Mrs. Gloria Allred has no right handling any type of evidence because it cannot be admissible in a court of law. It's a conflict of interest. You let the law or the DA bring in his discovery, not some woman that supposedly got the tape from a man who found them in his cellar and he claims he has no connection to R. Kelly. Then how did you get his tape? You need to be put on trial to tell the real reason of how you got this evidence. Now, this kind of stuff is showing up. And another attorney by the name of Michael Antonelli also said he got a phone call from 5 different individuals saying that they have evidence on a VHS tape of R. Kelly. How is that possible? Did they take that one tape that R. Kelly had and duplicate it and submit it all over the place? If it was not proven that that was Crystal's niece on that video the first time, what makes you think she is going to consent to that picture of her in the second video? And I understand she excluded it and she said it was not her picture and it wasn't her. So we got a real problem of people coming out of the woodwork to defend these girls who have lied in the Me Too movement. They went on trial and they probably won't ever go on trial. And they probably won't even have to have a lie detector test. They're going to be taken as face value as being honest girls when you cannot take their statements as face value. They must swear in up under a court of law and they must have a lie detector test done to prove their statements are true. They can't just go around here giving us rhetoric about something that's not true. We got to work this out. We're going to work it out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to work it out. Tea time. We're talking about just the facts in here today, ladies and gentlemen. And we want you to be a part of our particular fact finding. And we're asking you to pick up your phone lines and call in at 760-539-3247. You can call in with your statements about the R. Kelly indictment. Well, the R. Kelly alleged victims who have formalized cases against R. Kelly, and they're going to be going to court. And R. Kelly and his attorney are going to have to get out there and get their evidence together and investigate this case, because we cannot send another brother up the river again. We cannot, under the auspices of alleged assaults, under the auspices of alleged victims. They are not victims until the courts have proven them victim. And we have to be about this business of helping this case along this time. Because if we have to stand out in the streets and say that this is ill preparation, that all the facts have not been presented, we must form our own YouTube conglomerate and speak against these evils, because they're certainly evils. Now, we're back online now, and I'd like to get those phone lines ringing and open up. Our phone lines are open at 760-539-3247. You can call in at any time. You have your day in court to talk about the facts and evidence that you want to address. Are there any facts and evidence that you would like to address, that you would like to point out? Because we're certainly pointing out the facts here in this room now, and we're addressing anything that can be considered as unscrupulous. One of the things that's unscrupulous is for Andrea to get on national TV and to cry wolf about all of the physical assaults and psychological assaults she's had from Mr. R. Kelly. Why did she stay so long? Why didn't she take this evidence to the police department? Why didn't she get some help for these young girls? Why didn't she act as their advocate? Why didn't she intervene? Why did she have to wait until she was abused and then go on national TV telling about all her abusive situation, when in fact, if these girls were into heroin, she knew that they was in trouble too. And just as she was, why didn't she get together and formalize a Me Too group to come against R. Kelly if he was holding them against their will? Why didn't she do these things? Was it because she was getting child support? She was getting a check and she didn't want to stop her check? Was it because she was in cahoots with R. Kelly too, doing the same thing? Some of these lies have got to be revealed. We cannot still base everything on a lie. And R. Kelly could not have done all of this by himself. He had to have a helpmeet. He had to have someone in his group that was helping him, that knew his moves and knew about his history. And Andrea, you fit the caliber of the person that would be able to help him, because you said he's your baby's daddy. You care about him, you love him, and you were still there with him for 13 years. Then that means that you went along with all of that stuff that he was so-called doing, and you never called him on it. Why didn't you call him on it? You mothers, why didn't you call the police? Why did you wait so long to start saying, I want my son out? Because you thought he was going to go to court and you was going to be able to bring a case against him. Why didn't you go to court many, many years ago when you had the opportunity, when the statute of limitation hadn't ran out? Why didn't you go to court on him then? Why didn't you bring him in a court of law to address all of these alleged issues? Why did you wait? And now they got evidence on you that you have submitted your guardianship of these children over to R. Kelly. And not to mention, R. Kelly even has evidence, and the girls concur, that you gave them over to R. Kelly so that he can make stars out of them. And you told R. Kelly that you wanted them to give them a musical training. And these girls knew good and well that they couldn't sing. They weren't singers, but nevertheless, you supported this. And you didn't stop crying you didn't start to cry until your money ran out. And he has offered you money for those girls, and you know it. Now, we're talking about just the facts in this Omi Inkas production studio, and we're also in Oracle Divination Network. For those of you who would like to call in, now is your chance to call in and to voice your opinion. We want to get as many callers as possible during these two segments. well, 3 segments, because we have one more segment on Morticia, and we're going to be addressing anything that we can about the case to bring it out. And we want more people to call in to voice their opinion. Bring out just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Hold tight. We're collecting facts now. Our phone lines are now open. You can call in at 760-539-3247. We are waiting for your call. This is the Oracle Divination Network, and we are a paranormal organization, and we deal with the paranormal. We are a Yoruba-based group where we teach from Ifa. Ifa is the actual belief of the religion, and we do oracle readings for the nation and for transitioning hierarchies. We do not do individual readings, and we teach people how to do their oracle reading and their energy reading. So please do come and visit us. We're right here on Blog Talk Radio Station waiting for you to call in. And our phone lines are open at 760-539-3247. You can call in at any given time. Our phone lines are now open, 760-539-3247. You can call in here at Oracle Divination Network with your opinion. Our phone lines are open for us to talk with you now. Please join us. We are live on YouTube. How's everyone doing on YouTube? Please go down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Leave a comment about what you think about the R. Kelly case. Make your statement and leave a comment. And also ring the bell. That bell will allow you to see when I'm on. It will notify you and become a subscriber. I'm trying to build my subscription up, and we're getting ready for our big anniversary. Come in May 19th, I think it is. We're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary, and we're inviting everyone out to a Wing Dang Doodle Day, a Wing Dang Doodle. And that Wing Dang Doodle will allow you to come in, and we're going to play music, and we're going to talk about old times. And we're going to have a guest during that time. We'll probably have several guests to congratulate us on our 10-year anniversary. And once again, you're in the Oracle Divination Network room. And this is where we deal with paranormal issues. And you're also in Omi's production studio. Now, I'm not back in my studio today. I'm up front, so you can just come right out front and be a part of what I'm doing. Now, I want you not to understand that we have to organize ourselves. We have to get ourselves together. So many times we've been caught when we have not organized, we haven't thought out our thoughts, we don't know the facts. And that's why I'm showing you how to just get the facts. Tell the people to leave their personal opinion at home, how they feel about someone. We only want the facts, just the facts. When you bring facts and evidence, then we can get with you on that because we can document facts. And people have to disprove facts. They can't say, oh, that's not true when you're holding the facts. Show them the facts and tell them we're dealing with just the facts. And when you produce the facts, you will look high and low for facts. You will go to the ultimate extreme to find the facts. You cannot be lazy when you're trying to find the facts because people's lives are at stake. And most of these juries, they have limited facts and they're just going based on what they hear during that particular court proceeding. But they must learn to do their homework too and gather the facts. Talk about only the things you can prove. And if you cannot prove the things, do not bring them in a court of law because they will only be dismissed. So we got to be more fundamentally prepared for research. And if you're not a researcher, you should become a researcher. You're going to have to learn to research your own case. Sometimes you have appeals and you have to go back and appeal things. Everybody wants to challenge you to see if you're going to appeal something. Always take advantage of your appeals until you can't appeal anymore. I know a lot of people have a hard time trying to represent themselves in a court of law called pro se. Sometimes you have to know the proper procedure for presenting information to the court. And if you present it wrong, it can be dismissed just as well. But go to the library and research the proper way to appeal. Research, if they give you 30 days, follow their instructions for appealing. But we must learn to appeal. And R. Kelly has an attorney, but he's going to have to get a group of people together that are concerned and that love him and gather the facts. Just in case he have to present a witness, he needs to get all his witnesses together now so that they can get prepared to go on that stand and present themselves so that R. Kelly is not there alone. It seemed like all of R. Kelly's support team and those that were instrumental as his administrator have scattered. They've all left. And he has no one to stand in his defense. But he's got to find just that one good person to act on his behalf. And he's got to go before God and plead the fifth and the blood of Jesus and ask God to take this mantle away from him because it all fell down on him at one time. But he was out of compliance when he started dating outside of the marriage, when he started having wild sex and engaging in wild sex, even if his wife was involved. It was all wrong. And he's got to ask God. Only he can ask God for that forgiveness. We cannot put him in a jail for a sexual predator. He wasn't seeking these women out. Some of them willingly came to him. And you cannot fault him fully for this whole episode. The parents are involved, the girls are involved, and so are those supporting people that made it possible. So all of this has got to be talked about. And we want you to understand that we're not here just chewing the fat. We're here to make you think, as our brother Don Calloway would say, I'm just here to make you think. And that's why we're here. More tea, sir? Like more information? More tea, sir? Then fine. Have a cup of tea. The More Teaser is our More Teaser series that we are presenting here. We are on number 16, More Teaser series, meaning giving you information. So those of you who are not following this case very closely, the actual alleged victims are Sparkle, Lisa Van Allen, Andrea Jones, Kelly, and also Mrs. Savage. Now, Sparkle has also named her sister and her brother and her alleged niece, which she gives no names for. She has also named them as being a part of R. Kelly establishment who were able to ascertain jobs with him. Now, there alone, she seems like she was trying to monopolize R. Kelly and she wanted to get in the mix and thought he wasn't married and became very frustrated by the fact that he was married and that she couldn't become first lady. And she was so insulted that she, along with Lisa Van Allen and one other person, Sparkles and Lisa Van Adams, and I'm not sure who the third person was. I understand it might have been a gentleman by the name of Demetrius. I'm not certain, so I want to throw that out. But they did go over to R. Kelly's gym and they stole his duffel bag with all of his jewelry, up to $100,000 worth of jewelry, including uh, a wristwatch of a Rolex watch, in addition to the tape that was in the backpack. And they stole it and extortioned it and sent it and drove it to Pennsylvania to someone. I don't know where they were driving from, but they went to Pennsylvania. And while in Pennsylvania, they shipped the tape to some CBS radio station or some news station without even getting the law involved, without even going to the policeman. So it seemed obvious that they were trying to blackmail Mr. Kelly. They were blackmailing him and extorting him for money. He gave them some money and they wanted more money. So you see, this was becoming a game of stealing from R. Kelly, thinking because he's illiterate, they can steal from him. But he had enough sense to go and move his money from the bank. Now, we're going to find out a whole lot of other things, and we're going to be back at you this week, possibly Saturday or Sunday, to talk more about the evidence that we've collected for Brother R. Kelly's um, indictment when they get ready to bring him to court. We're going to have more facts out so that we can address those facts, and it won't be like somebody is just going to court not knowing what the real problem is. It's all happening, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We hope that you are gathering the facts, just the facts, darling, only the facts. You can call in on our radio station here at 760-539-3247. We're waiting for your calls. This is Oracle Divination Network, and we're coming up on our 10th anniversary, and we do want to invite you to be a part of our 10th anniversary. And we're asking you to come in with your dancing shoes on. We're going to have a wing dang doodle, and I hope that you'll be able to come to our bimbe, and we're going to play music, and we're going to have refreshments. For those of you who can be here live, that's great. And for those of you who can't, we'll accept your absence in the way of coming to the airways and being on the radio. Now, I don't know how many of you have been trailing Mr. R. Kelly's case, but you need to get on it and you need to formalize a team and a group of somebody that you can depend on and start talking about this situation all over the planet because it needs to be talked about. This case has gotten more serious than what we think. It's a lot of people involved in this racket, and our Kelly is not the only one that's involved and have vested interests. There are women that have vested interests who were initially in charge of this thing. And if R. Kelly became tainted, that's because a lot of other people in the business are tainted too. And they need to make sure that the middleman is not the only man that's going down, but the people that instigated this and that call for this. And if R. Kelly had the aptitude of a 12-year-old. I don't know how he could orchestrate all these things that adult would do unless he's working with his full faculty. And let's just hope that out of this, that nobody is just slapped on the hand, but the proper people that are the cause of this are addressed and they're given their just due, so that R. Kelly will not be alone in this, and that all those corporates who were part of it get revealed, and that R. Kelly doesn't have to be afraid that it's just him. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, let's play Up Above. Matisa? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about those tapes that have unveiled themselves and whether or not they can be used as evidence again in the court of law. If it's the same tape that they had during his first arraignment, we're going to be asking, should those tapes be brought up or should they be inadmissible in court of law because they've already been demonstrated and showed? But we certainly are going to have to get around this by saying that we're not going to solicit those lay people who are not privy to this case to start showing up with evidence in order to try to bury R. Kelly. There's a lot of people that would like to see him in the ground. And he's such a proud man. They would like to see him away from the industry because he's proud and he's sure of himself. He doesn't have very much to go on other than the fact that he'd never been educated and someone denied him of the opportunity to be educated. And that certainly should be a part of the school district's fault because he was dropping out of school and he wasn't getting an education. But nevertheless, he structured his life so he can make money and he made good on his gift that God gave him. I understand that some music teachers in his school helped him to learn to get the right music, and he perfected his art and his craft. And he has performed and sang with entertainers all over the world. But look at Lady Jaja. Jaja, she's pulling out her album that she did with him, and that's terrible because if she's already did the album, it doesn't make sense to pull it out. She's pulling out the album, and he's losing access to a lot of gigs where he could be getting paid residuals and royalty, and people are damaging his career and they are damaging it purposely so that he'll never be able to perform again. They're doing him double dirty. Why do we have these people that are doing all this dirt that try to dismantle your name and take away your legacy? Well, they can't take away your legacy. God is not about the business of letting people tear down someone's legacy. He said he can build. Jesus said, if you take away, he said he could build his temple in 3 days. We have to believe that man's riches are not with riches and gold, but are with relationships, good relationship. Now let's help R. Kelly to realize he has to form good relationship. You don't want every woman around you that can be damaging to your health, damaging to you. She can be a poor taste. So he has got to learn to pick one or two good women and not be exposed to all those women because some of the women can be dangerous to his health and they have been dangerous. But nevertheless, these are things that are growing pains and that I'm sure he's learning. But we as African American are going to have to stop letting people come to our community and wave the white flag and say, I want to create justice for you. They're not looking for justice for us. If they were, they would stop the white man in the street from bringing about all of this injustice to us. but instead they come to our communities wanting to take cases for us so they can put money in their pockets and on their children's table. So we got to stop running after these white attorneys, because most of them won't even take your case. And some of them, whether you lose or win, they're going to get paid. And if we're going to do anything, we should formalize our own low income representation of paralegals that are Black, who have vested interest in us, who can help us. But right now, R. Kelly, his money is probably running out, and he won't be able to afford those highfalutin lawyers, and neither will some of those other people. So we need to come to a consensus that we're going to settle. We're going to bring this thing to an end, and we're going to settle, and we're going to bring some closure to it. And we're going to vow in our hearts to live upright. How come whenever we get some money, we got to start living so devilish? We got to start destroying ourselves. And this money cannot be used to destroy ourselves with so many people that need food on their table and so many people that need housing. We can't afford to just blow our money up in smoke by having the finest champagnes and Royale drinks and the finest clothes and shoes. We got to stop this. We got to realize there's more to life than all these material things, and that we are waiting on a better way so we can rule during this lifetime. We're not looking for death. We're looking to live. But we have all of these things ahead of us, whereas the person that has color is going to suffer constantly just because of their color. But we got to get a very understanding that we formalize our own judicial system, and we should be doing that now, formalizing, structuring our judicial system just like the Native Americans did, and getting their format and laying it down. Now, I just saw something where someone showed me that they had other policemen investigating those policemen that were over discriminating, and they had those regime go around and find those policemen and put them on notice, the ones who were over assessing Black folk and picking them up and giving them tickets for no reason. So we are going to be a better organizer. And in being a better organizer, that means that we are going to come together with our own fact-finding groups. Whenever we find something that's going on with one of our Black brothers that we have allegiance to, and I don't care what their performances or industry is, we ought to have a crew ready to go out and gather the facts, just the facts, and not all this emotional feelings that people have against other people, because we're letting our emotions, we're letting white folks lead the caravan, and they're hiding behind the Black group with their rock in their hand and telling the Black people who to throw it at. And the Black people are falling for it because they think a good legal worker is going to work on their behalf. Not always so. Some lawyers will leave you out in the woods, and some won't even go there with you. They'll take you only so far and say, this is how much your money will spend. Well, I got news for you. We're going to have a group that's more stronger than the Me Too Academy. We're going to have a group that will be there just for the facts, a paralegal group, one who knows how to research and gather facts so that we can begin to do our own research, and we can publish our own research on the YouTube and on Blog Talk, and we have our statistics in front of us. So we're dealing with factual information and not some information that someone scratched their head and came up with, or it's my feelings and I feel. No, if it cannot be proven and if it's not factual, we cannot use it. But we must address groups of professional women. You got to stop just being an entrepreneur for yourself. You got to lend your services to the community where you can uphold the law. You are the law keepers. Why do we have so many fraudulent people that are claiming to know the law? We are the lawgivers, and we must know our trade and our industry. And we cannot let all sorts of lawyers come down on our entertainers and destroy them. We cannot do this. We got to think of a better way to meet. We got to meet and have a go-to-meeting room. The next time I talk to you, we're going to talk about the go-to-meeting room and assigning people all over the planet, all over the diaspora, their jobs in the legal research area so that these main cases, we start researching and gathering just the facts. The name of it is Just the Facts, to represent public representation in just the facts. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to our phone lines and see who's on our phone lines and see is anybody calling in. Our phone lines is 760-539-3247. If you're out there and would like to talk to us about formalizing our group, call the public representation for just the facts. That's what we're going to be calling ourselves unless we can come up with a better name. We are going to unite together and stop wasting time on these airways to talk about how to gather the facts. We got young girls who don't even have any legal background that are gathering just the facts, who are putting together a referendum of all the lies that have been told and who's behind this entourage that supposedly R. Kelly has. Who were the victims and who are the predators? And we're going to help the attorney to better address the case, and they're not going to be putting innocent people in jail because our Me Too group is going to be much finer, and it's going to be a solid legal group of people that have credentials, that know how to research, and that can do a better job of saving our people. Let's save the world, Black African American man, because he's slowly becoming the bald eagle, and we're losing grounds with him. And there's so many of them being picked up and being deciphered for their money. They're being raped, first of all, for their money. And we're not going to have, and we got to just go to these Black men. If they want protection with our group and our support and our legal support, they're going to have to sign on to making contribution to the organization while they yet can, because a number of Black people wait until they get in trouble, and then they want to solicit for all these NAACP and all of these Black groups that can help them. They have to be connected to them beforehand, because we certainly need a group that's better than the My Too movement. We need a group that know how to do the research and who can do it incognito and gather the facts. We will formalize that group. Next time we meet, we're gonna employ every Black woman to be on the team. It's free of charge, and every man to support the team. And you're gonna have responsibilities. You're gonna have researching responsibility and gathering just the facts, baby. Just the facts. Public representation for just the facts. Thank you so very much. And we're going to go to a commercial here and see who's out here. And let me see here. Hold tight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back, and you are with your Omi. I am your Omi for the evening, and I am Omi Inca 7, Lady Jaguar Throne, and I'm here on Oracle Divination Network live coming at you, as well as on Omi's production studio through my YouTube channel. We're broadcasting live on both stations, and you should have known that we were going to be here. You can call in to our radio station at 760-539-3247. What do you think about setting up your own research team that goes out with the media to collect just the facts for public representation? And for those who can't afford a lawyer, we will send a lawyer that is a pro bono along with those paralegals to gather just the facts. And then we can compare our facts to their facts and see who's really telling the truth. We cannot let these men be sent up to slaughter without forming a team like the Me Too movement and going out, gathering just the facts so that we can present our case and we can see who have a more vulnerable case that will support these men so they're not taken out from amongst us and put in prison. Now, Brother Robert Kelly was taken from amongst us. They came up with that silly nonsense about $100,000 for bail. And then when they didn't have anything on him, they researched to see if he owed child support. That's beginning to be real old and a joke too. Women, we're going to have to come up with some other solution where we can get the money from the man without putting him in prison. You cannot get money from a brother if he's locked up in prison. He cannot work his trade or his art or his craft. So how can he earn money for you if you've got him locked up? That's not you who are requesting that these men be locked up. The welfare don't want to pay you any money. For every man that's locked up, that's $79,000 per year that they're paying for these prisoners, they could be giving some of the money to the mother. It sure don't take $79,000 to house an inmate. What is he eating? Filet mignon? What kind of lifestyle does he have? He wears the same clothes. So somebody is getting more money than what they're talking about, and they got taxpayers paying for it. It's very sad that we don't have a consortium of lawyers that are pro bono, low paid lawyers that can help in criminal cases. So when men get indicted to go to court, then there can be a fact-finding team that can help the lawyer gather the facts and cut the costs down so that the lawyer can have the research done and he can easily get the interrogatories done, the fact-finding, looking for evidence, all of this. Teams can be formalized to work with the attorney to help him to better position that opponent for judge so that the lawyer is not going in there nickel and diming this particular petitioner so that this petitioner can win the case. And knowing what it takes to win. We just can't say R. Kelly's going to win. We got to know what it's going to take for him to win. And we're not just helping R. Kelly win so he can get back in bed with another sister or brother. We want to break this ring up. And R. Kelly's going to have to swear to the fact that he's no longer keeping heroines in his home, that he's no longer keeping more than one woman in his home. He cannot support all these women families. He's going to have to give up that lifestyle. His lifestyle was wrong from the beginning. I admit that. And R. Kelly, you admitted that. Now you got to go before the Lord and ask him to take the taste away from these many heroines and help you to establish yourself where you're doing something positive for those who are sick in a community that are in need of a physician. Maybe all of your proceeds can go towards that to help strengthen other men. But we certainly can't keep doing the same thing that we used to do if you're going to get the help you need. It's very vital that you should know this, R. Kelly, that we're helping you to help our own society because it's time that we have a group of researchers to represent the attorney for someone who cannot afford a lawyer, but we represent that attorney to do all the research for him that will free him up to do some of the cross-examining and the courtroom cases. And while others that are part of this research team are collecting just the facts, baby, just the facts for this public representation agency, we only want the facts. And then when we can produce those facts, we can be a force to be reckoned with. And then anytime there are alleged victims, we can interview them. We can fingerprint them if need be. We can execute a lie detective test so that we make sure that we have them on file, giving their testimony if there is one to give. This would run a lot of those people away who don't have solid testimony. And if they cannot produce solid testimony and there's just a hunch and they have no evidence to prove it, dismiss it. Don't let those women take up your time because they're trying to earn another dollar and money to put in their pocket. We got to do this because there's too many lying faces that tell lies. They tell lies. Lying faces, they tell lies. Lying faces, they tell lies. Yes, we know this. And we got to stop these people from lying to get a little change in their pocket. And we got to let them know we are on to them. And we are going to formalize so that we have groups of people that can free themselves up on the internet to start collecting data on these particular topics that we're about to talk about. Now, were there any other topics that I can monopolize on as to when I started beginning to talk about this? And we want to make sure we give everybody an opportunity to voice their opinion. Let's go to our phone lines and see who's there and see if there's someone calling. Are there any callers? Callers, you can call in at 760-539-3247. And this is Oracle Divination Network. And we are getting prepared for our 10th anniversary. You do want to join us on this episode where we are going to spend the whole month of May celebrating, and we are going to be raising the roof for those guest speakers who have come in to speak on our radio show, and we are going to be acknowledging them, and we are getting ready to find out how we can best market ourselves for monetization, and we are going to be bringing in some volunteer attorneys that can help us with this project. They owe us now. I brought in quite a few attorneys who were still in school, and I believe they do owe us some assistance and help because we've given them those feature spots on our radio show. We want to be able to use our legal department to help us, not one that is deciphered so that it can be character assassinated or so that the people can be warded off with guns and all sorts of mechanism. We want our sites to be productive, and we're not trying to just have a site just to be on here to talk, but we want to be able to discuss and air our problem. And one of our problems is we have a situation with R. Kelly, whose people in the community have brought their children to him and asked him to take over guardianship, which he has. And some of these women are grown now and they're up in age and they've been with him for a long time. I would think if somebody's been mutilating you or beating you, that you would have been long gone and you would not be staying with the man that's abusing you. So we want to get to the bottom of this and find out who the real abusers are and find out if R. Kelly was sharing his money by taking care of all of these households and he never asked for these girls to come in that were sent to him, then he would truly be innocent. But we'll let matter and time take care of that because we don't have the facts. Just the facts, baby. Just the facts. Because you cannot say anything that you cannot back up. And if you don't have factual information, you're just blurting heresy. And it's very important not to blurt heresy. Because when we blurt heresy out, people will realize that you don't have the facts. Hold up. Just the facts. Just the facts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting ready to take calls. And if there's anyone out there that would like to come in or call in, our number to be reached at is 760 539 3247. You can call in at that number. We're going to give that number out to our Facebook friends. And our number here, once again, is 760 539 3247. You can call in at any time now. We are waiting for you to call in. So, for those of you who are R. Kelly fans and you've been playing his music, I hope you've been following the national radio as well as the YouTube channels, and on all the channels they featuring this show. They got another black man. They want to string him up. They want to paint him as the new predator for sexual deviant behaviors, when we clearly know that our black men and women are not a part of these deviant behaviors. And we want to make sure that everyone realizes that R. Kelly is not guilty until proven guilty. These are alleged allegations. They are not fact-find cases where each one of these women's cases has been researched. We are putting a team together so that we can do something one better on them to collect the facts and just the facts only. If they're not alleged facts, then they cannot be included in that particular investigation. If it's something about I feel, I thought, I was suspecting, it cannot be used. Just the facts. These have to be facts that have been researched. And these women have to swear to these facts. They cannot be coming up with something that happened previously 20 years ago that are not factual. They have to be factual documentation, and they cannot be things that don't have evidence attached to them. If you cannot prove this with evidence, we cannot include them in the allegation. And things such as tapes showing up, like Gary Dennis is discovering. Now he's discovering things in his own house that was possibly planted there, or he planted it there. One or two things had to happen. Either he planted it there and he want Mrs. Allright to believe that he had these type of things in his basement for discovery. Mrs. Allright know clearly that she cannot use any of this evidence in a court of law, which came from a man who might have distorted these facts. And it might be a conflict of interest to use anything from Gary Dennis. So why are we going to Mrs. Gloria Allright with this evidence like she is the popos? Usually you take these kind of evidence to the popos and let him investigate and let him produce this for the DA. You would look conspicuous if you brought in evidence that came from your basement and you said you didn't know where it came from. What happened? Did Kelly sleep in your basement overnight? Did he leave the tapes there? Did any of the girls that he had locked up secretly hide the tape amongst your athletic tapes, Mr. Gary? You're going to have to prove that, Mr. Gary. You're getting yourself involved in something that you have no business in. And why? Why did you call Mrs. Gloria Allright, knowing her history and her background, for trying to exploit Black men? What did you want, Gary? Did you want another Black man exploited? And did you do this for monetary gains? Or is this another joke? And this particular tape, has it been tampered with? Has it been maneuvered? And has somebody put things on there that they are sure that the courts want to see? And where did it come from? Don't tell me that you're not aware of every item in your house and where it came from. If you didn't bring it there, then somebody else did. Who planted this tape in your house? And did Gloria Allright tell you to go and do a press release? What is her position on this? She cannot try Mr. Kelly. She cannot go find evidence from somebody else that's not privy to the case to use in the case, because somebody could be manufacturing these tapes just to indict Mr. Kelly. Now, it's happened before. You did everything in your power to prevent this man from going home. After you discovered that he could bail himself out to a friend, you came up with another issue of money, and you felt that he couldn't come up with $160,000, but he did. So what next? This seems like a game, and we are about the business of playing games. And that's why we need to assemble our research team to look for just the facts. Let's go to commercial, ladies and gentlemen, because these people are not hearing me. We are looking to go to find the facts. Let's go down the dusty road. Now, once again, I like to say to Blog Talk, when I play my music, I want to hear my music. I don't want to assume that we have no music. I know we got music. Now let's put the music on. Let the music play on. Now, while we're still here, we're going to keep on talking because they haven't put our music on, but I want the world to know that this is the biggest extortion in the world. You got parents trying to extort R. Kelly, the mothers and the father, and then you got lawyers trying to extort R. Kelly. Then you got ex-wives trying to extort him. Not to mention disgruntled girlfriends who are upset about their previous relationship. My God, if a man get a little chump change on him, and if he's smelling good and looking good, somebody always want to come around and extort that person for their money. And that's what this is all about. Let's just break it down, break it down, break it down. It's all about extorting R. Kelly for money. Now, if you had children that wanted to run to R. Kelly to help them to become a star, you'd be writing that child into R. Kelly's will, and you know it. And you'd be giving parental rights to him, as Black people are so quick to do. If somebody can feasibly, financially do anything for our children that can bring them in the lights and in the stars, we are quick to sign those children over. And that's exactly what happened to Mr. Savage. He signed his daughter over to R. Kelly. Now, some of these young ladies have even admitted to the fact that their parents told them to lie about their age and to go in and take pictures with R. Kelly, even if they were in sexual scenes, to be a part of these pictures so that they could keep these pictures as evidence in case they had to create an extortion by taking R. Kelly to court. These children admitted this and said that their parents were involved in doing such low things as this. They openly accused their parents of it on national TV when Gail was interviewing them. We've got a problem, Houston. You have parents who are involved in this escapade, and how must we bring them into a court of law to investigate their testimony? Because their testimonies are better than the girls. At least they have an alimony and an alibi, and they can bring evidence. These girls can bring the evidence. They can bring the heat on their own parents. And I don't think the parents want the heat brought on them. So somebody better come to the table and come out of the courtroom and settle out of court, because R. Kelly has the right to defend himself and to bring a countersuit against these parents who knowingly took money from R. Kelly and took checks from them in order to feed their household. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And they know they did. And they're going to soon expose themselves. They are going to soon expose themselves. And it's going to be a nightmare. And it's going to make our race of people look really bad. Really bad. Like we are hard up for money. You don't do any and everything for money. Money is not the ultimate solution to our problem. And we must understand that we got to get a cap on this thing from telling our children that the ultimate thing is to collect money. It can be devastating, just as it has for Mr. R. Kelly. And him collecting this money has been a nightmare. He's drawn the wrong kind of people to him. He's even drawn people that want to lay up in his house and pretend to be a part of his family. He's drawn adults to him who wants their children to sit up in his house and collect a paycheck. Money can be devastating to a poor group of people. And that's what it has done. It has changed the mind of good character people who want to do the ultimate thing, and that is to stage a scenario against R. Kelly and indict him where he can go to prison for the rest of his life. And they don't know what they're doing, and karma will repay them, and it's about to blow up on them now. I am calling on all the ancestors that they will go after these parents who have fraudulently given the guardianship over to R. Kelly, who have given their children away. And after receiving money from R. Kelly, now that the money has evaporated, they are now back to negotiate another deal. All deals are out. R. Kelly's not working any more deals with you. You're going to have to come to the courtroom or settle out of court. But you sure as hell don't have any business taking this man to court over some foolishness that you have perpetrated by giving your children away. And now that you see that your children are safe, and they admittingly came to R. Kelly because you suggested it, and you suggested that they lie about their age, and you suggested that they take pictures to character assassinate Mr. Kelly. Now you have a serious problem. The Savages and the other parents out there, you have a serious problem. Houston, we have a problem. We are going to have more people in the courtroom than we can imagine. It won't just be R. Kelly under indictment or investigation. It's going to be those silly rabbits that didn't know the tricks are for kids. They have exploited their children and themselves and their name. The children don't even want to go back home. Some of you fathers have had skeletons in your closet who sent these girls off, who have had records, and you know it. And you have not one charge, not two charges, but 3 charges against you, and you can be held in contempt of court because of your prior background and the indictments that you had against you in a court of law. But yet you're trying to indict Mr. R. Kelly. Don't put all the blame on him. He was just the Pied Piper who was literally making dreams come true for young girls by giving them the desires of their heart, the Gucci bag, the elaborate watches and dresses and hair pieces, and taking them to the finer restaurants and allowing them to vacation. He was just the middleman in hope that he could have many women each night he went to bed to lay with him. And if there's a crime in that, then let the crime be brought forward. He answered a call of these poor families who wanted his children in his care and who they gave the rights to parental guidance. And when he took care of them and the word got out that this was some kind of Jim Jones group with a suicide mission, that all too was a lie. There was only one girl that was suicidal, and she stated that she tried to kill herself up front. And I think that was Miss Savage that said that. So she had a suicidal tendency long before R. Kelly got to her. R. Kelly is not breeding women to kill them on a suicide mission, so you can stop that lie. Nor is R. Kelly trying to do anything to these women, but allowing them to have a lifestyle that they never knew or could not possibly know, and their parents wanted them to know it, so their parents told them to lie. What sense would it make for parents to tell children to lie about their age, when in fact, now you're trying to crucify a man because he entertained children that were under the age of 17? That's a lie. R. Kelly said he never had sex with any of those minors, but yet you want to indict him for that. Luckily, you can't get him for that because he had no young women under age. If they lied and told him he was 17, he had to believe them, especially when you told them to lie. We got a problem, a serious problem. A lot of family members are going to be investigated now, and they're going to be able to be brought to charge. R. Kelly gonna flip this thing around.
This Pied Piper gonna get out of this mess. He gonna flip this thing around. Now you're gonna see the countersuit, just like Chris Brown was able to flip it around and countersue the girl that lied on him. And R. Kelly gonna have a lot of people to sue, and starting with the families. In addition to these so-called Me Too movement girls, they're going to have to answer to the truth, and they're going to have to produce a real alimony and supporting facts to produce these cases. When they cross-examine, if there's no substance to it, and if they have no evidence, then they have to throw it out. It has to be inadmissible. And if they bring in these phony and false VHS tapes that are from the 90s, that are tapes that have been reproduced from the first tape, it will be thrown out of court as well. But we got to wake up, Black community. We got to wake up. Every time we're on the defense, when someone comes in ready to take one of ours out of the community and take them to jail, we cannot be on the offense. We got to be on the defense. We got to be prepared and ready, because we know it's coming, because these are the games that people play. And when they start with the first person, they don't stop. They keep on playing the games, and they take our brothers away. Just like you got in the streets and act a fool when something went down about your food stamps, you got to start raising hell about these false allegations that are being produced against your brothers. You got to, because we got lying faces that tell lies, and they never stop to apologize. And R. Kelly, you're going to get your day in court, brother. Just go before the Lord and fall on your face and ask God to take the desire away from you, and take take the desire away and confess your sin. Tell God you have wronged him. You have had too many women in the harem, and that you're sorry, and to forgive you. Plead the blood and ask the blood to come up on you and help you, so that you will have a way of escape, brother. God always prepares a way of escape for his people. And if you have a reverend, go to your reverend and confess to him and plead the blood of Jesus and ask him to pray for you, and get the congregation praying for you, so God can cleanse you of all your unrighteousness. Brother, you have some wrongdoings to confess, and you must confess them before God, not before the public. We are not your maker. We have no hell or heaven to put you in, but you must go before the Lord with your ill thinking and your approach to this thing, because you approached it all wrong. You let somebody get you caught in the spider's nest, knowing that eventually it would all fall on you. You're not all the blame, but you're some of the blame. And you're going to have to get your life corrected and set straight, because people are putting the whole doggone thing on you, and you cannot go down alone. Just like the other white men say, if you throw me under the bus, I am going to take a whole lot of other people with me. That's how you got to be, Ara. Do you understand me? You cannot afford to go at this thing by yourself. You see, Bill Cosby sought to go at this thing by himself, and he didn't tell Camille to go and get all the money out the bank. Break the bank. Give them the damn money. Give them what they want, so I can then go and free myself some more. Or you can get back on top again. You can make some more money, but get your freedom and keep your freedom, and let no man take your freedom away from you. They're jealous-hearted for how you live and how you got the ability to define your lifestyle. They don't want no black man being that free. So they came after you to take your freedom away. Now you take it back, Ara. Take it back and begin to stand up for yourself and gain your composure. No more crying in the streets, because that's what they want to see you broken. Do not break and bow down before them. Go before the Lord and prostrate yourself and cry out. Do not cry out to man. Man has no accountability to you. They want nothing more than for you to suffer. And they want the black man to be vanished and be off this planet. You cannot do that, Ara. You're at the height of your career. There's much more talent in you. You have overcome all of them, even with your flaws, even with your character discretion, even with the fact that you're an illiterate. You have overcome the average white man and you have prevailed. Don't you know they hate the guts that you have and the ground you walk on because you have superseded them? It's now time for you to call on the Lord that has given you favor and ask him to give you favor in the village, favor in the vineyard, favor in the court system, favor in the prison. Ask him to give you that favor, and he'll be careful to give it to you once you confess all of your unrighteousness. He will be careful to give you the desires of your heart, and you will be in right standing with God, and no man can indict you unless you go before the Lord and refuse to acknowledge him and refuse to repent. You must acknowledge the God above, and you must repent before him only. Now go and repent for your sins, for your lifestyle, and change your ways, and God will be with you, and he will send the ancestors after you to assist and aid you, and they cannot fight you and the ancestors. We position the ancestors in the courtroom today. We position everyone in the audience. We position them at the door. We position them at the steps. So when you walk through the valley, yea, though I walk through the valley, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, thy comfort me. Thy prepares a table before me. Walk through the valley of darkness and stand up and know that the Lord is with thee and he will never leave you. You mentioned that you acknowledge your pastor, then call on your pastor and ask them to get the congregation together so that they can cry out for you. A righteous man will availeth, the prayers of a righteous man will availeth much. I believe you're a righteous man. You've been just misguided. In your ignorance, you've been misguided. And the parents you had didn't put you on a path. It's not all your fault. And we have to claim that the school system was the fault of not training and allowing you to be literate. So everything ain't your fault. But here we're telling you that God will prevail in this and he will get the glory out of it. Man meant it for harm, but God will get the glory out of this, and you will shine like a glimmering light, like a stone that has been buffed. Yes, you're being buffed right now. You're being buffed, but you're going to come out like a glimmering stone, and no man can come against you. But you're going to have to fight, Ara Kelly. And we are here with you. We're here with you to help decide what is going on. So thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that we are about the business of going off the air now. Thank you so much for joining us. And I do appreciate you. Go down below. Please go down below. And we ask that you will go down below and become a subscriber. And for those of you who have not subscribed to my station, we're going somewhere with this, and we're going to ask your help and your support. We're formalizing not a Me Too group, but we're formalizing a support group of researchers that can find just the facts for those who need representation. And in this room is where you will find this, that we will be reporting on this until we get the facts, just the facts, until we understand that God is on R. Kelly's side. What man meant for evil, God will turn it around and make it for good. We will have to cry loud and spare not, and lift up our voices like a trumpet, and show the house of Jacob their transgressors. And we will begin to show the world that they won't take any more of our black men from amongst us, and that we are not going to take it lying down. And we're not going to stand outside marching. We're going to cry loud through the spiritual realm, and we're going to start now. Those of you who are intercessors, those of you who can get a prayer through, those of you through your moanings and groanings, begin to start moaning on behalf of our nation's black men, that you will set the record straight, that we will be the moaning women, and we will call out the ancestors to show up on the courtroom steps. The dry bones themselves will walk through the corridors so that R. Kelly is not alone, and that he has support system from those who were not only his fans, but from those who loved him from the start. This man was a handicap. He got mistreated in the school system because they didn't teach him well. He came out, and in spite of his deficiencies, he came out and made the best of an entrepreneur, and he lifted himself up by the bootstrap. And then he began to go and get other individuals and lift them up by the bootstrap. He began to go with various different singers, you who are taking them off your display, you who are taking them off your radio station. You are commanded by God to put him back on the station so he can earn his money. Quit cutting that man's money off, or you will be chastised for cutting that man's money off. Why would you cut his money off at a time like this when he is at the point of breaking and crying out for the Lord? Why would you cut that man's money off when you would be taking away his baby's mother's money? Why would Gloria and all these people that have performed with him and that have been on the billboards suddenly say, I regret that I performed with R. Kelly? He is not a child molester. He has not abused any underage child, and you know it. Somebody's convinced you that they want you to step out front so the whole world will follow you and they will condemn R. Kelly, but it's not going to happen. Not in this lifetime, not as long as he has a group of moaning women that's going to get a prayer through. The ancestors are now on the job. You can expect them to show up anywhere, in the courtroom, in the prison. They're on the scene now. We have called them on behalf of R. Kelly. He has no one else. He's a motherless child, and he was forsaken in the school system. But we, as a group of black women, are not going to forsake him. He did right by his establishment. He performed. He showed up. Now, the woman that he married, the ex-woman, if you don't stop your nonsense, you're going to meet with an early disaster because you're doing wrong. You're tearing down your house with your own hands. And Andrea, someone's warning you. Get out of the media and stop lying because we can see through it. And I'm saying, Sparkles, please don't go on national TV lying anymore. And Lisa, you got your book deal. And Sparkle, you got your album. You all got something out of this. Why are you trying to leave R. Kelly broke? Wasn't he once your friend? Do you have no morals for yourself? Don't you care about this man? Then have some equality, if nothing else, and lift him up in his state and go to him and help him. This is what real Christians do. We don't wait till somebody's down on their hard luck and we kick him when he's down. Now, he didn't rape any of your children. You didn't see him rape any of those girls. They submissively, willingly went there. Now, if you know of any girls that were been raped, take the picture, paint it up on the wall, put it on the internet so someone can see it and tell the truth and stop telling these lies that you are a victim. You're not a victim. You're a liar, and the truth ain't in you. I dismiss myself. Thank you so very much.